Welcome back to Rick's English channel. Today you'll learn why familiar words disappear or change in fast-spoken English. And we'll train your ears with 3 simple techniques: listening for chunks, focusing on stressed words, and predicting what comes next. Right, so imagine this situation. You study English for years, you read the textbooks, you memorize the vocabulary lists, and your teacher in the classroom always sounds perfectly clear.
Yeah, you feel super confident, right?
Exactly. But then you step off a plane in a new country, you walk up to a bus driver to ask a simple question, they open their mouth, and it just sounds like this solid wall of fast, blended noise.
Like a completely different language.
Right. None of the words you studied seem to be there. I mean, it is just a completely overwhelming experience for you.
We hear this from learners constantly, honestly. It can really feel like native English speakers are secretly using, I don't know, a second language that you were never even taught.
A secret code or something.
Exactly. But they're not using different words. So today's deep dive is really a dedicated listening workout to help your brain connect those clean, separate words you know from reading with the messy, natural spoken English you hear on the street.
You know, it makes me think about writing in cursive. Like, when you learn to print letters on a page, every letter stands completely alone, right? An A is just an A, B is just a B. There's clear space between them.
Right, they're separate blocks.
Yeah, but in cursive handwriting, the letters stretch out. They change their shape to basically hold hands with the next letter. The actual word hasn't changed at all, but its physical form looks completely different. Spoken English is basically audio cursive.
Audio cursive, I love that. And I mean, if no one has ever taught you how those cursive letters loop together, you simply cannot read the message.
You're just lost.
Right. And the exact same thing happens with your ears. You have to learn how the sounds change shape. But, before we practice the techniques to actually hear it better, we need to look at why the words change shape in the first place.
Yeah, because a lot of learners, they believe that natural spoken English is just slow English played at a higher speed, like watching a YouTube video on double speed.
Right.
It feels like it's just faster, and if they just slow down, I could hear every word perfectly.
But it's not just about speed. The actual physical movements of the speaker's mouth change. When people speak naturally, they are trying to be as efficient as possible.
Lazy, basically.
Essentially, yes. The human mouth wants to take the absolute easiest path from one sound to the next. So, to save energy, speakers do 3 main things. They connect words together, they make less important sounds very quiet, and they often just drop some sounds entirely.
Okay, so if you're listening to a conversation and you feel lost, it doesn't mean you have a bad vocabulary.
Not at all.
Like, you could look at a written transcript of that exact conversation and probably understand every single word on the page. Your brain just hasn't learned the audio cursive version of those words yet.
Precisely. Let's look at the mechanics of this shape-shifting, just to see how the mouth takes these shortcuts. Think about the really common question. What are you doing?
Okay.
If you say it slowly, emphasizing every word, it's 4 separate pieces. What are you doing?
But nobody actually talks like that in real life. I mean, unless maybe a police officer is asking you questions in an interrogation room, right?
Right, exactly. In normal, everyday speech, the mouth just does not want to work that hard. The T sound at the end of what and the R sound in R, they just get dropped completely.
Wow.
And the word you shrinks down into this quick ya sound. So what are you doing physically transforms into what are you doing?
What are you doing? The boundaries between the words just melt away.
Exactly.
Another classic example of this is, did you eat yet? In natural speech, that almost instantly becomes, did ya eat yet?
Yeah, didja. And the physical reason for didja shows us exactly how this whole process works. If you try saying the word did, the tip of your tongue has to press up against the roof of your mouth.
Okay, did.
Right. Then try saying the word you. Your tongue has to move down and kind of pull back.
You. Yeah, it moves a lot.
So when you're speaking at a normal pace, your tongue gets lazy. Instead of making 2 separate movements, it just crashes the D sound and the Y sound together right in the middle.
It just smashes them.
Yeah. And this collision creates a completely new sound, a J sound, didja.
Didja. So the physical structure of the word is actually transforming, which means if the words are physically changing their shape, then trying to listen for every single separate word is a really bad strategy.
It's impossible.
Yeah, it's just too much work for your brain to process in real time.
And this brings us to the first technique from our sources, which is listening for chunks. You have to stop trying to isolate single words in a sentence and start listening for these new blended sounds.
Okay, so what exactly is a chunk then?
A chunk is really just a group of words that get pushed together so often They essentially become one single vocabulary word in your mind.
Well, we already found two big ones, right?
Yeah.
What are you becomes the chunk whaddaya, and did you becomes the chunk didja. What are some other really common chunks learners should be mapping in their brains?
Well, another very common transformation is going to. That becomes the chunk, gonna.
Gonna, right?
Or consider the phrase, do you want to? That entire four-word phrase basically shrinks down to a very fast burst of sound, like, do you wanna?
Kiwana. It sounds almost like a sneeze. Diowana.
It really does.
But let's put this into a real situation. So imagine you're at your office, right? A coworker walks past your desk and they just ask, did you call him?
Okay, let's pause right there and think about the listening process. If your brain is waiting to hear the separate words did, you, and call, what actually happens?
I mean, I'm going to miss the start of the sentence completely. My brain is searching for a clear D sound followed by a clear U. So when I hear didja, I get confused.
Right, you freeze up.
Yeah, and by the time I realize what they meant, my coworker has already walked away. But if I already know the chunk didja as one single unit, I just process it instantly.
Exactly. Recognizing that first chunk unlocks your ability to hear the rest of the sentence. Like, let's say you're working on a team project. Someone says, Gia, want to try a different software.
Okay.
If you hear Gia, wanna as one sound, your brain knows immediately they're making a suggestion. Now your focus is entirely free to listen to the new information, which is try a different software.
I can totally see how that removes a lot of the pressure. But relying on chunks has to have a limit, right? Like, what if you are walking through a noisy train station or the speaker is just mumbling and you just don't hear that first chunk at all?
That happens a lot.
Yeah, so what's the backup plan when the didja or the whaddaya gets totally lost in the background noise?
That requires us to use technique number 2, which is focusing on stressed words. English has a very, very specific rhythm. Linguists call it a stress-timed language.
Okay, stress time.
Right. And not all languages work this way. In languages like Spanish or French, almost every syllable gets the same amount of time. It sounds very even, kind of like a machine gun. Rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat.
Oh, sure. But English sounds a bit more like a heartbeat, right? Like dum, da-da-da, D-U-M, D-M-D-U-M.
That's a perfect analogy. To keep that steady heartbeat rhythm, English speakers put a heavy physical stress on the most important words. We make them louder, we hold the sound slightly longer, and we even make the pitch of our voice a little bit higher.
Right.
Because these are the words that carry the actual meaning of the sentence. And to keep the beat steady, we squash all the less important grammar words together.
So the strong words carry the meaning, and the weak words are just the glue holding the sentence together.
Exactly.
It's kind of like reading the front page of a newspaper. You don't need to read every single tiny word in the small print to know what's happening in the world. You just read the big, bold headlines. In spoken English, the strong, stressed words are the headlines.
I love that. Yes, those bold headlines are your important nouns, your main verbs, adjectives, numbers, names, and negative words, like cannot or won't.
Right.
And the small print, the weak words, are basically everything else. The prepositions, the articles, the small helping verbs.
Okay, let's actually test this out to see if it works. I'll try to be the learner here. Give me a natural, fast sentence, and I will try to find the bold headlines.
Okay, listen to this sentence. Spoken naturally. Could you send me the file before Friday?
Okay, if I listen for the headlines, the strong words are send, file, and Friday.
Perfect.
And the weak words were could you, me, the, and before. If a native speaker says this quickly, those weak words might just sound like a quiet mumble, right? But send, file, and Friday are loud and clear.
So if you only hear send, file, and Friday, do you have enough information to take action?
Yeah, I know exactly what I need to do. I need to send a file, and the deadline is Friday. I get the whole message without needing the grammar words. But let me challenge this a little bit. What if the sentence was negative? Like, what if the person said, I cannot send the file before Friday? If I only listen for send, file, and Friday, I might think I'm supposed to send it when they're actually saying they're unable to do it.
Yeah.
Isn't ignoring the small word a little dangerous?
That is a great question. But this is exactly why negative words are always stressed words. In English, we always hit words like cannot, don't, or never very hard.
Oh, really?
Yes, we make them loud because they completely change the meaning of the sentence. So you would actually hear, I cannot send the file before Friday. The negative word gets heavy stress, so it absolutely is not missed.
Oh, I see. So the language naturally protects the most important information by making it louder.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have chunks and we have stressed headline words. But even if I'm listening for those, the conversation never actually stops. If I'm always trying to translate those strong words in my head after they are spoken, I feel like I'm always going to be one step behind.
Because while you're translating the word file in your head, the speaker has already moved on to the next sentence,
Yeah, they're gone.
which leads to technique number 3, predicting the message. Good listeners are never actually decoding the present moment. They're always one step ahead of the speaker. You use the situation, the environment, and the start of a sentence to anticipate how it's going to end.
Wait, isn't that just guessing? I mean, when we sit in a classroom learning a language, guessing feels like a bad habit. We're taught to listen carefully and decode every single word perfectly. Guessing just feels like cheating or like something that's going to cause major misunderstandings.
I get why it feels that way, but it's not blind guessing. It's educated anticipation.
Yeah.
And you actually do this in your native language every single day.
Do I?
Think about it. If someone speaks your native language and mumbles a word, you don't stop and panic. Your brain automatically fills in the blank based on the situation. If you stop to try and decode a single missing word in English, the speaker doesn't pause for you. They keep talking. By the time you figure out the missing word, they're already 5 seconds ahead, and now you are completely lost.
Wow. So trying to be a perfect listener actually stops you from understanding the message.
Exactly. Real-time listening is completely different from a written exam. Prediction is what allows you to keep pace. Let's put this into a daily context. Imagine you're at your workplace, and your manager walks over holding a project schedule. They point to a task and say, "Can you finish this by?"
Well, as the listener, my brain shouldn't just wait empty for the next sound right. Because of the situation, my manager, a task, the word by, I know a deadline is coming. My brain prepares a very small menu of options. I'm already expecting words like tomorrow, Friday, or the end of the day.
Yes, because your brain is already expecting a time-related word. When the manager actually says Friday, you process it instantly. You are ready to catch it.
That makes total sense.
The environment does half the listening work for you. Let's try another scenario. You walk into a restaurant. Before the server even approaches your table, you can assess the situation. You know the script. What are the likely topics?
Well, the server isn't going to give me a pop quiz on history, right? The topics are very limited. They're going to ask about the menu, taking our order, or maybe later, paying the bill.
Exactly. So if the server walks up holding the credit card machine and asks, "Are we paying?" Yeah. Your brain immediately fills in, together or separate. Or if they sit down the plates and say, "Does anyone need any extra?" You are immediately expecting the word napkins or sauce.
Oh, wow. This drastically reduces the number of words my brain has to process. Instead of searching through a dictionary of 10,000 words, I'm only choosing from 3 or 4 in that moment.
Right. Native speakers are not superhuman listeners. They're just highly contextual predictors.
Okay, so we have the 3 concepts. We listen for the blended chunks, look for the bold, stressed words, and predict the message based on context. But how does a learner actually turn these concepts into a habit? Like, if I'm a learner sitting at home right now, how do I practice this without feeling completely overwhelmed by all the fast audio?
So the sources outline a highly practical routine for this. It only takes 5 minutes a day, and it uses short video or audio clips.
Nice.
You can use a YouTube video, a TikTok, or just a quick 1-minute scene from a TV show. It's a 3-step process.
5 minutes is great. I mean, anyone can find 5 minutes in their day. So what is step 1?
Step 1. Listen to the short clip without any subtitles. Do this blindly. Your only goal in this first pass is to try and catch the bold, stressed words. Don't worry about the fine print. Just try to grab those loud headlines. Listen for the heartbeat of the sentence.
I can imagine this might be pretty frustrating at first, though. You might only catch 1 or 2 strong nouns or verbs in a whole sentence.
And that is completely normal. Don't pause it. Just let it play and grab whatever strong words you can. Then you move to step 2.
Oh.
Turn the subtitles on and listen again. This is where you connect the visual words to the messy audio. You visually read along with the audio.
Oh, so you read the clear, perfect words on the screen, but you hear the blended, cursive audio.
Exactly. You will look at the screen and see the words, "What are you?" But your ears will hear, "whaddaya." This builds the bridge in your brain. You're basically teaching your brain that these clean written words map to this specific messy sound.
You're manually building that audio cursive mapping we talked about earlier.
Also love that.
I love that. So we listen blindly for stress, then we listen with text to find the chunks. What's the final step?
Step 3. Turn the subtitles off again. Play the audio one last time, pause it, and repeat just one sentence out loud yourself.
I want to clarify something very important for the listener about this third step. Repeating out loud here is not about getting a perfect native accent, right? Please do not stress about trying to sound like a Hollywood actor.
No, not at all. The goal of speaking it out loud is to train the muscles in your mouth to physically feel the rhythm. There is a very deep connection between speaking and listening.
Really?
Yeah. When you physically practice saying the chunk didja, actually feeling your tongue smash those sounds together to take a lazy shortcut, your ear suddenly gets much better at hearing it when someone else does it.
Ah, so you train your ear by training your mouth. The mouth feels the shortcut, so the brain learns to recognize the shortcut.
Exactly.
5 minutes. Blind listen for stress. Subtitle, listen for chunks. Speak out loud for rhythm. Let's actually put this into practice right now.
We are going to give you, the listener, a real-time 5-second challenge to apply everything we've just talked about. I'm going to say a natural, fast sentence. We want you to use the techniques.
Right. Don't try to translate it word for word in your head. Listen for the chunk, grab the stressed words, and understand the general meaning.
Here it is. What are you going to do after work?
You have 5 seconds. Think about your answer.
All right, time's up. Let's look at the pieces. The bold, stressed words were do and work.
And if you heard whaddaya gonna, you caught two major chunks right at the beginning. What are you became what I and going to became gonna. What I gonna do after work?
The core message is just asking for your plans for the evening. And we want you to actively engage with this. Write your quick answer down in the comments wherever you're listening to this.
For example, my answer right now would be, I'm gonna read a book. Notice I use the chunk gonna there to practice. The big takeaway from all our sources today is this. Fast English does not become clear because native speakers suddenly decide to slow down for you.
Exactly. It becomes clear because your brain learns to recognize the patterns. You have the power to retrain how you hear the language.
Before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought to think about today. Pay really close attention to how you speak your own native language later today with your family or friends.
Oh, that's a great exercise.
Yeah, whatever language you speak, you'll discover that you are dropping sounds, blending words together, and speaking in your own chunks without even realizing it.
Because language is built for human connection and speed, not for textbook perfection.
Right. And once you realize you're already doing this in your own native language, understanding it in English becomes a whole lot less scary. Thanks for diving deep with us today. Keep your ears open for those chunks, and we'll see you on the next one.